Well, Jose Blanco, the Vice President for Asian Markets for Guests, has just joined us. Jose, we've just done a panel together at the World Retail Congress here in Amsterdam. Thank you very much indeed for participating in that.
My pleasure.
So let's cover maybe some of the ground that we talked about then, and maybe some new ground. You have an amazing amount of experience in Asia. And in China in particular. How would you sum up retailing in China today?
Well, it's a learning process. It's a kind
Still?
of it's a never-ending game. And for us who come from outside, you have to learn about everything. About the culture, about organization behavior inside China, about competition, about what the customer is expecting. You keep learning and learning. I think it's a kind of, if you are engaged with what you are doing, then it's a good game to be there.
One of the things we discussed at length on the panel was this whole notion of China speed. I mean, maybe 20 times, 15 times, I don't know, faster than anywhere else. What challenges does that give you, both from a keeping up with the consumer and also running a business and making that business profitable?
Yeah, it's a kind of you have to keep working and working and working. The big difference with any other market is stores never close. No matter offline, online, it's 7 days per week, always open. And this same behavior happens with everything in the business. So first, it's about, how hard working you and your organization can be in order to deal with speed. Because as soon as you take a rest or as soon as you stop for a break, you are out. You will be out of the business. No? And together with this speed is also to understand that the speed is happening in many different dimensions. And you have to pay attention to all of them in order to ensure you are not missing any of them. These dimensions can go from competition, local or international, can be how you have to deal with social media, your marketing, the influencers. 5 years ago, they were saying we are lack of shopping malls. Now they are saying oversupply of shopping malls. Yeah. So everything happens really very, very fast. No? So you have to be there and at the speed, but also you have to ensure that everything you do, it makes sense. Because if you are doing too many things because of the speed, and then you realize they are not the proper one, it's also something that can impact you and your business.
Now, Chinese competitors, not just international brands, are fierce in China. How do you continue to differentiate your offer from a local Chinese competitor?
That's we look at it from two different sides. One side is like if you go to your stores, you remove the logo from the entrance, you look inside, and you see, is the customer going to recognize you or not? If you are able to answer this question, that's good. You should. So in order to ensure the customer is answering this question, you have to do a lot of, you have to be very consistent in your communication. You have to do a lot of communication and be very consistent in every different channel. No, and for sure in your stores, no matter offline stores or online stores. This communication and this consistency in the communication has to be about who you are, what is your DNA as an international brand, and what kind of things you are offering that they don't have. From the other side, it's very important in order to compete with the local market, with the local brands, to ensure they are looking at you as someone executing the brand locally with a local team. The closer you are with them through your local team, from the store associates to the whoever is working in the head office, the closer you will be with them. If you have both things, then it's going to work.
Now, you are expanding fast in China. A lot of people are saying around the world that the thing that you don't want anymore is physical stores. You have a lot of physical stores in China. What's your view on physical versus virtual?
We have seen that no matter how big or how important is Alibaba, Tencent, Jingdong, physical stores, offline stores is still 80% of the market, and it's not going to be less. And in fact, you can see with all this omni-channel new retail, what they are doing is just moving from online to offline and trying to catch the sales from offline, because they realize that's very close to the limit.
I mean,
of
actually, we're
online.
seeing a flattening off of growth of e-commerce in China.
Because there is no more customer base. They have the whole customer base already. So offline is a must. And it's not only because it's 80% of the market, but because this is where the customer is going to see you. They are going to see you online, they are going to see you offline. It's a customer, China is a culture driven by experience. You have to interact with them. Maybe not as you were interacting before, just through product, but now it has to be through product, content. But this content has to be both online and offline.
Content is becoming more and more important to feed the social media beast in China. What's your approach to creating content? Are you creating it specifically for the China market, or are you using content that's generated globally?
We have both. We have all contents coming from global to ensure the brand consistency is there. And we are taking all of them and in parallel developing specific content, both for e-commerce channels and social media channels. And of course, the influencers we are using are local influencers that can connect directly with the Chinese customer.
Now, local influencers, probably a China phenomenon at the moment, but I'd imagine it's going to go global. How do you choose the influencer in a sense, or do they choose themselves by virtue of their power?
The reality is about money. They are becoming more and more expensive. So some of them, maybe you want to choose them, you cannot afford, because at the end you have to manage a budget. No? But once you are in your, let's say, whatever you can afford, it's a conversation. I mean, you have to find the one who is connecting with your customer profile, the one who is representing your brand DNA, and of course, in our case, it's a brand who has been always looking for who is going to be the next supermodel, the next big influencer, trying to find this segment of influencers in China. The key is like you talk through them more than through yourself. No, the brand is introduced to the customer through these influencers.
You've spent a lot of time in China. You also worked with Zara for a number of years. Is the concept, I suppose, which Zara pretty much created, of fast fashion, has that had its day?
The thing, from my point of view, is like Zara has done an amazing job telling the customer how they have to behave in their stores. So it's just about operations, and Zara has a very well-organized supply chain in which everything comes to the store by magic. So customer is there, product is there, you just run the business. No? While when you are outside of that, you have to rethink what is your approach with the customer, how you are going to develop the customer journey. And that's key. It's about product, it's about customer, and it's about the operations of the store. So we take these three vectors and try to organize in order to ensure, again, it's completely consistent with the message of the company. But it's much more complicated from the point of view that there is not only one vector and the other two are coming directly, kind of magic. It's the three of them you have to handle together.
And finally, how would you characterize the time that we're in China, in retail at the moment, if you had to sum it up in a few words?
Innovation, engagement, proud of themselves, omni-channel, I think that's some of the key concepts that are happening now.
Well, that's sort of balls to have in the air all at once. Jose Blanco, the VP for Asia Markets, for guests, thank you very much indeed for joining me here. And thank you also for being a fantastic panelist to the panel I chaired a little bit earlier today. Thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure. Thank you.